Welcome to On the Line with Reverend Sheffield, a television program surrounding shared topics of our weekly broadcast On the Line, live on 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. Come join our live radio broadcast and enjoy a delicious free breakfast every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming. On the Line with Sheffield focuses on community transformation by socially educating and empowering the people. We are committed to in-depth investigation, social change, and personal elevation. What's on your mind? It's On the Line with Sheffield.
All right, we're live and living color on the corner of Grand River, Wyoming, and Sheffield. So y'all make some noise up in the house.
Yeah.
Got a great show for you. I'm blessed and privileged to have Ronnie Peterson, my former co-host, who's through the first Saturday for many, many years. He's retiring from ASME. He's going to be in the state legislature. Got elected as, well, he's nominated by the Democratic Party, but he should win unless Trump sweeps and makes Democrats vote for them. Welcome, Ronnie.
Well, let me say, I'm always pleased to be in the room with you, Bishop.
All right, we got a great show. The public education system, by the way, I'm a former elected member of the Board of Education, was involved with my dad. You look around the building, you see the Hope Ticket and so many other folks who've run for board. With all that's going on in our city, we got to have an educational system that is going to allow our students to come out prepared for the world of work and for college. So we're going to be doing a show all day long. As you know, we got grits, biscuits, and salmon croquettes. It's absolutely free. We got some cakes we're raffling off. We got some No Trump Detroit T-shirts we're going to raffle off as well. Well, without any further ado, I want to introduce a couple of our candidates who are here with us. By the way, feel free to call us at 313-209-9000 or come into the building and enjoy the broadcast with us. First, we have Leslie Andrews, who's a candidate for Detroit School Board. We'll let her tell you more about herself, and Sonia Mays. So we've got two dynamic women who are running for the Board of Education. Men have screwed everything up. It's time for us to have a woman mayor, too, by the way. So why don't you start, Sonia, tell us who you are, why we should support you.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on this morning. So I'm running for school board because I'm concerned that we are in danger of losing our public school system here in Detroit. I can't think of an institution that's had a more profound impact on my life than Detroit Public Schools. I'm a graduate of Renaissance High School. My mother is a 30-year retiree of the public school system here. And I had a really great education in DPS. I had an education that gave me the skills and the confidence to go off and have a wonderful career. I was able to leave with my diploma and go get 3 degrees from the University of Michigan, work for a New York bank, come back home, and I recently started, last year I started a community-based real estate development firm that's focused on creating all sorts of opportunities, the kinds that we see downtown and midtown for the rest of Detroiters, for all of Detroiters. So I think that I have the finance skills, the restructuring skills. I know how to fix broken things. I have a long track record of doing so. And so I think it's all of our responsibility to step up and to try to save the school system, and I'm doing so by running.
All right. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. And my dear friend here, who's also a Cass graduate, I didn't say anything about her coming from Renaissance. We'll let that pass.
I love her
But
nonetheless.
you're in the corporate world.
Yes.
You can tell where you work if you want to, but why are you running?
I'm running because the business of educating children cannot be business as usual. For at least the last 20 to 25 years, we have failed to get it right. I'm not here to assign blame or have anyone assume responsibility. We can't look to the past. Right now, we've got to build from where we are. I am a K through 12 DPS graduate, and this education did well for me. I agree with Sonia. It did everything. It laid the foundation for what I have as, I believe, a great career. I do community relations and corporate philanthropy in the city of Detroit, and the top priority has always been to fortify and sustain DPS, many times in ways that they were unable to do it for themselves. We've got to provide students with wraparound services. We've got to fortify these programs that build outside of the classroom life skills, soft skills. We've got to prepare an entire generation And we've got to hurry up and do it right this time. We don't have another 25 years to get this correct, and you've got to put the right people at the table to bring the resources. I think someone would be foolish to believe that the private sector will not have a role in Detroit Public Schools. As a matter of fact, they will serve as a stopgap when the thing in itself may or may not show up the way that they project it to show up. You've got to have someone to partner with you to ensure that we have high-quality schools, we have well-funded teachers.
Well, you know, having been an educator myself and run alternative schools, I've often had this argument with people, and I want to hear what your two opinions are. I get tired of people making excuses about the students who show up to be educated and all the things that intervene, you know, in terms of poverty and lack of preparation. I grew up in Detroit Public Schools, and there were kids in my classrooms who didn't come prepared, but teachers found a way to educate them. So what do you see, both of you, as the primary reason we're failing the generation? And I know we have a different student than we've had in the past, but an educator educates what they've been given to educate. So what is the reason, and what will you do to overcome it?
Well, if I may, I see it as a teacher issue. The teachers must be well paid, they must be motivated, and I don't mean self-motivation, I mean no motivation, demotivation externally, meaning they have to be well-resourced, they have to feel safe, they have to feel like they have a role in the students' outcomes, they have to feel like they have a voice in the district. The teacher and everyone who touches a child are the most important people in this equation. That's it. I never heard of a teacher say, I'm only going to teach the students that do well. I only know teachers who teach every single child that comes into their classroom, and we have to support them. We have to provide them with everything, and I mean well-certified teachers. We have to be sure that we have individuals in the front of those classrooms who can really transform those students into very positive citizens, into ones who can have great outcomes from this city. This city will not rise without the people being strong as they can be, and it starts with the children.
Ronnie, you want to ask a different question, or do you want to try to answer that question as well, Sonia?
Well, I think that the question would be is, what are the two most challenges you think the board will face coming up this year after your election to the board? To make the district is continually to shrink, the challenges coming from the state of Michigan and the oversight of the governor of the state. What do you see as two of the greatest challenges these districts face, and how would you work to overcome them?
So the two biggest challenges that I see in the near term with this school system, first and foremost, we need to go out and hire the best, most dynamic superintendent possible. We have spent the last nearly 15 years with a revolving door of leadership in the public school system. You cannot run a stable organization any organization, whether it's education or business, you cannot run an organization well if you have a revolving door of leadership. Every time someone comes in the door, they want to redo things, they want to hire their own team, and that's the environment that we've been in with DPS for the last nearly 15 years.
Can I interrupt real quick, Donna, because in a few moments, Bill Coleman will be here. And Bill Coleman had a fiscal policy that worked. The school was performing well, but he wasn't an educator, they said, and they didn't like him. You know, this is the problem that we have. There's so much personality that's interjected in the public school system. People didn't like the Hope team. They didn't like Deborah McGriff because they were elitists. I mean, the nonsense goes on. And at the end of the day, I'm not certain people understand what's at stake. What's at stake are these children like Wendell, one of my former alternative students who just got back out of jail, just not having an ability to earn a living or be able to, you know, do anything productive with their lives.
So we have to get to a place where we have stable long-term leadership, people who have a vision and are committed to seeing that vision executed. And that's an important role that this board has to play. This can't be a every 2 year, we're gonna try to reset the chairs on the deck. So that's number one. Number two, I think at some point we really do have to grapple with the structural challenges that this system faces. 7 really good, well-qualified people are not going to be sufficient to turn this around. It has to be a collective effort, and it is going to have to involve having an honest conversation about what it means to fund education in an environment that has such a high poverty rate, that has such high economic challenges. What does it mean to try to educate children in an environment where schools are literally competing and marketing for your child to be in the seat? And those are structural challenges that this system are hampered with that, quite frankly, suburban school districts don't have to deal with. And we need to be honest about the impact those have, and I think a great board will advocate for the kind of structural changes that are necessary to give all the children an opportunity.
Speaking of structure and context, and Penny Baylor's here, she knows that there's no place in the world like the cauldron that you deal with the public opinion and public agitation, public adulation, whatever you want to call it. People having grapes thrown at them and called all kinds of names. I was attacked by some folks when my sister was hired to be Bernie's chief of staff. Leslie, are you prepared to deal with that kind of, I call it Afronautism, quite frankly. They're like Negroes in space. You know what they're against, but you don't know what they're for. They're against, you know, they define more by what they're against and what they're for. Go ahead.
You know what, I am. It's interesting. I'm dealing with my people all day in my role in community relations, and the thing that I find interesting that if you give them information, you have an opportunity to educate the community as well as educate children. And a lot of the things that are going on out here are really just frustration, anger, misinformation, lack of information, the truth coming forward, even if the truth does not fit the paradigm that they believe. I think some people are still open to that, and we'll just have to find ways to communicate on everyone's level and get them on board with what's going on, because we can't leave anybody behind. Everyone has a role in making this district work.
I want to thank Leslie Andrews running as a candidate for the Detroit School Board, and of course Sonia S. Mays. You've heard the two of them. The last verse you heard was Leslie Andrews, and we certainly appreciate anybody who would step up and put themselves in the public light and the firing squad of public opinion.
Come join our live radio broadcast and enjoy a delicious free breakfast every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming.
We've got 2 more people who want to step in the Coliseum, who want to give themselves as living sacrifices. And that's Teresa Madison. I had to keep it down just a little bit when we're on the air because it's competing. Ken Stockard, that's you. All right. Karen White, how are you?
Good.
Give us a little background on you and why you're running for the board.
Well,
Hold the mic this way. There you go. Yep.
Good morning, everyone, and I want to thank you for having me today to speak about our candidacy. I am an educator. I've been an educator all my life. And I feel it's very important that we have an educator on the board. We want to make sure that our resources and all our focus is in that classroom with our teachers. As a DPS teacher, a DPS administrator, I really feel it's important that we focus on reading. I have a passion for reading and have been teaching teachers at the college level about reading, as well as working as past president of Michigan Reading Association. We advocated for literacy issues. All this I bring to the board in trying to make a difference in the lives of our children. As a mother of a DPS graduate of Detroit School of the Arts, I know we can make quite a difference. I do believe that we need to make sure that our teachers have freedom in the classroom and our leaders, our principals particularly, have freedom to lead in our schools.
All right, and introduce yourself. You're also running. I want to make sure you tell them your own name so they'll remember it better than me speaking it. Yes, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Madison. I am also a product of Detroit Public Schools. I was fortunate to be attending college at 16 because of DPS. I taught at Bates Academy. I no longer wanted to teach at Bates. I wanted to go back to the school in my neighborhood. Fortunately, it's a great school, Carson's Elementary. I feel that I need to be on this board because I know what the students need. I know the teachers need the freedom to teach, and the principals need that freedom to lead. When you have that, you're able to come up with a student that everyone can be proud of.
Yeah. Now, I always have to ask this question because part of being on the Board of Education, and it's true for any public office, but especially with the board, is the degree of public exposure and public ridicule and criticism. And I've been there, I've seen that. And I think it's unfortunate, quite frankly, that people aren't able to operate in an environment that's a little bit more friendly and accepting of people's difference of opinions. But how do you get past that? And then how do you have the fortitude to do what's right regardless of whether or not folks in the audience think it's wrong? That's important to me. And we have Penny Bailing him, and she'll tell you all about it. They really almost like want to tar and feather people sometimes just for doing what's in the best interest of kids as opposed to what's politically expedient.
Well, as a principal of a Detroit public school, I know we have many times faced angry public.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been trained well as a principal to build consensus, to work with our community. And I feel that I have never met a stranger. I've always been able to hear and listen attentively to our public and to bring them on board, that remember what our focus is our children and the welfare of our children, and let's not leave our mission. Let's not let anything distract us from our mission, our children.
Rodney?
Let me ask the question, though, but I've heard it from both sides in terms of what the parents and the anger of the community. One of the things we have to realize as public officials, we do work for the community. What will you do to enhance the relationship with the parents and the community at large to make it a better and a more communicated and a more, let me say, transparent district where the public is comfortable about the work you do as school board leaders? What do you see to overcome that?
I'm fortunate to live in District 3. We have millions of community meetings, and I literally mean that. It is no problem to walk the walk, and that's what I did in the community where I live. That was from Chalmers to St. Jean. That's where I worked, and we walked that walk, and every person knew what was going on in that community. I think we could do that again.
What are the new school board members going to be responsible for under this new configuration?
Number one, and the prime most, is that we find a superintendent that can meet the needs of our community. And the first thing is to get out there and do that search. Secondly, we need to make sure that we walk that tightrope of watching our budget and making sure that the resources in our budget are focused on that classroom and our teachers, that they can get equitable pay.
And Teresa, supposedly the state is now lifting its overarching hand from the district. But this week alone, we've heard that Schuette's already talking about closing schools. What's your feeling about that?
My feelings are...
To hold the mic up a little.
Oh, I'm sorry. My feelings are just... The emotions grow high. Unfortunately, they are saying 47 schools. Our governor said that he's going to give us a chance. He's going to give us 3 years to rectify this situation. I am hoping that the public and the governor come together and we can keep our schools open.
So what would be the benchmark for either one of you in determining whether schools should be closed?
First thing, I don't believe that schools should be closed. There shouldn't be, the benchmark would be, has been in the past, looking at test scores. I don't think that's a very fair benchmark to examine alone.
Well, if that was the case, a lot of schools all over the state be closed. So,
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
So I do believe we need to give our schools at least what the other schools get, and that is the 3 years since we are a new district to show that we can turn things around. And we can and we will.
How about you, Teresa?
I also agree, but I think it needs to be 3 to 5 years. But if a school is good for the community, what does that mean? Some schools have health centers, some schools have social workers, some schools have all of the needs of the community. If it's working together, then we need to go in and see what's not working with the academics.
So in other words, you wouldn't just use the traditional matrix that most folks use, test scores.
Exactly.
But if there are other values that that school brings to that community, to those children, that would be something you want to consider.
Yes, sir.
All right. We have about a minute left for each of you. Just tell us again your name and why we should support you.
My name is Karen White, and I am
Karen,
running...
hold the mic like this. There you go.
Sorry.
That's all right.
My name is Karen White, and I do believe my experiences also as school improvement facilitator and district improvement facilitator for Michigan State University will indeed help me guide and help guide the board into making sure our 47 schools do succeed. Research shows that turnaround, sorry, Teresa, can be accomplished within the first 3 years.
Sure. All right, Teresa, we got 30 seconds.
Thank you. I believe being a DPS student, a DPS teacher, a DPS lifetime learner. I've been here all my life. I've never moved. I know what Detroit needs. They need Teresa Madison. Thank you.
All right, and we need our children, and we need our school board back. We'll be right back after this with more candidates running for the Detroit Board of Education. We got some cakes and salmon croquettes, all kinds of stuff. Come on by right after this.
Come join our live radio broadcast and enjoy a delicious free breakfast every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming.
I'm now joined by my guest host, who'll be with me for a little while. His name is Austin Garrett.
Good morning.
A judge in the 36th District Court.
Good morning.
And I know everybody here's a real informed voter, right? How many people here are informed voters? Are y'all listening? Hey, this is my show. We're not having all these conversations right now. Do not vote for Ruth Carter. She's not on the bench. She's not on the bench. They would not take her name off.
Nope.
If you vote for her and she comes ahead of him, she has to resign or abdicate the role, and then the governor gets to appoint the successor, even if he comes in next. Penny, you've been at this for a while. You coming back. I mean, is this something you really want to do?
Are you kidding me? I could not resist this opportunity because it's the first time in decades that we've had a chance to have a new board, 7 citywide seats, which I think is important. I love my district. I lived downtown for 41 years. That's not the issue. The issue is people who have a broad knowledge of the entire city and have the city's welfare at hand, because, Horace, it really doesn't matter what Mayor Duggan does, and I love what he's doing.
Right.
I can't wait for it to get to all the neighborhoods. Or what philanthropists like Dan Gilbert and others do so well. If we don't transform our schools, nothing really matters. The city doesn't have a chance. So I'm in this for Detroit as much as I am, because the children are the future, literally, of this great city. And if they're not well educated, we can't make it.
Come join our live radio broadcast and enjoy a delicious free breakfast every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming.
Good morning. My name is Tawana Simpson. I'm presently on the Detroit Board of Education, and I'm running because I know that Detroit Public Schools is worth saving. I believe in our children, I believe in our community, and DPS is needed in our communities. There's no statistical data that says charter schools work any better for our students, so why not put together what we had before and save our public schools?
I personally am a very strong proponent of not only STEM, but STEAM, with science, technology, engineering, arts, and math as well. But right now, if you go to Cody High School, if you walk into Cody High School, You go on the second floor. You can walk into an office, and in this office, the parents. We haven't talked a lot about the parents, and the parents need empowerment as well. A parent can go into Cody High School and can get free financial literacy, budgeting, credit counseling, job connections and resources, entrepreneurship training program. If they can't find a job, maybe they can create a job. The kids at Cody High School are getting what we call a Hope is in the Box Academy, where the kids are getting 8 weeks of training on the front end, Gallup Hope Index, where we connect education with aspiration. A lot of tests try to tell us what the kids are bad at, but this is try to tell us what the kids are good at so we can focus on how we can empower those kids and direct them. On the backside of that 8 weeks of training, they get we think Shark Tank for kids. So the kids all get together, put a business pitch competition, and the top 15% gets a $500 investment into those kids, into that business. They're partnered with a business mentor from the private sector for an additional 10 hours of mentorship training. Then we help promote and push that business. Now, how much do you think DPS is paying for these services? The answer is $0. Why? Because I went out and got the funds to put in, and I said, you know what? Hey, Jonathan Matthews, look, you're not using that office space up here. It's not doing anything. No, we're not using that. We won't be using it, haven't used it. Why don't we turn this into an office? We went in, rolled my sleeves up, cleaned up the office space, and now what we're doing is giving the letter to the school, so now they can write with in-kind services for the value of that space. Now actually the economic situation, the income statement of that school district can get a tax deduction. So not only is it free, but it's actually an improved financial situation. The parents will get empowerment, the staff gets empowered, the teachers get empowered, and the students get empowerment, and the DPS don't pay a dime. This is the type of thinking that we can do to make sure that we all get wraparound services and empowerment for all of our school system.
Come join our live radio broadcast and enjoy a delicious free breakfast every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming.
Horace Sheffield, his daughter is a Detroit City Council. He's a man that comes from a lineage of men who have been respected in this community and all about social justice and all about improving the equality of life for men and women in our community. And so I think it's vital and it's very important that we have a man like Reverend Horace Sheffield who's going to keep it real and bring the right people. We need conscious people and increase community awareness about what's really going on so that we don't continue to go for the okie doke.
Maybe next week we'll spend a whole week on this presidential election, why it's important to dump Trump, why it's important to elect Hillary. We'll see you next week, same time, same station, grits, biscuits, and salmon croquettes.
You've been watching On the Line with Sheffield, a television program surrounding shared topics of our weekly broadcast, On the Line, live on 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. Don't forget, you can join us in person while enjoying a delicious free breakfast as we broadcast live every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Sheffield Center, located at 12048 Grand River at Wyoming. This show is being brought to you by attorney Michael Fortner, Home Again Care Services, and the Facility Group. For more information on our guests or to have a featured comment on the show, contact us via email at am910ontheline@yahoo.com or by phone at 313-491-0003. Until next time, remember, if it's on your mind, it's on the line.